Hello, my name is Carl Holmgren, and I've got some bandsaw trouble again. Out of my total of 11 bandsaw blades, I now have 4 that are no longer endless. So it's time to do some bandsaw blade welding, and I thought I'd like to show you a video of my techniques for repairing bandsaw blades by welding, or by brazing to be more correct. My sources of information on welding or brazing bandsaw blades, number 1 out of 3, number 1 goes back to May-June 1983, Fine Woodworking magazine. Repairing bandsaw blades. An article that does not have an author, so it's published by the magazine, but they say that it's compiled from information attributed to Wash Adams, Doug Pollette, and John Leake. Basically, the article says that blades need to be ground with a chamfer on the ends so they overlap, and you need a jig to hold the blades together for brazing. Another article that I found to be useful was one that I saved from Popular Woodworking magazine. I just clipped out the article. An article by John Wilson. And he describes a jig for holding the blades together and for grinding the ends of the blades with a chamfer so that they overlap at the point where the blades are brazed together. There's a very good YouTube video under a channel named Tom's Techniques, and I'll put links for all 3 of these sources in my description below. Tom's Techniques also describes building a jig to hold the blades together and grinding the ends of the blades on a chamfer to overlap them. The authors of the 2 magazine articles talk about annealing the blades after they're welded. Basically both articles suggest that the blades should be cooled slowly after they're welded to allow the weld to anneal and not become brittle. I know that when you douse a red hot metal in water, it makes it very hard and brittle. So I want to do the opposite of that and let it cool slowly. In fact, Wilson, in the Popular Woodworking article, says that actually you should play the torch flame across the joint for some minutes after the weld to allow the metal to anneal and cool slowly. The first thing we need to do is grind a nice long chamfer on the end of the blades, on the outside of one end and on the inside of the other end, so the blade can overlap where it's brazed together. And what I've come up with for grinding a chamfer on the end is this jig for my disc sander. A 10-degree wedge with a loosely fitting block that I can press against it with this little eccentric crank handle. Incidentally, I put this on backwards for truing up miter joints. Just clamp the blade in this jig, blade tooth up, protruding so it'll touch the disc. And then just touch it very lightly so it don't overheat or discolor the metal. I do not have the dust connector turned on because I don't want to pull sparks into the sawdust. Now, if you chamfer the inside of the blade and you want to chamfer the outside, no thinking retire. Just put the blade in the same way, teeth up, and it'll automatically chamfer the opposite side of the other end. I like to examine the ends of the blade with a loupe to see if I've got a nice sharp knife edge ground on the end. And this chamfer looks good. Here's my jig for holding the bandsaw blades for brazing. I've just attached a couple of pieces of shallow angle iron to the top of a wood block, nicely aligned. Then for clamping the blades in place, 2 short pieces of angle and a couple of bulldog paper clips. And I just clamp this in my bench vise. Clamp the blades in place tightly against the angle. So the scarf joint is centered. Apply a little bit of flux. This is just muriatic acid paste flux. Now, here's the silver solder strip. I just cut off a small piece, maybe 1/4 by 3/16 of an inch, and slide it between the blades at the scarf joint. A little bit of heat. Try to heat both ends equally. Heat until you can see the silver flowing out of the joint. Then reheat on both sides of the joint to anneal the metal, and then reheat again. And should have a good blade with a very nice smooth weld. Well, that's 4 blades welded, 1 on the saw, tensioned, runs nicely, and 3 to fold up. Gloves from the chainsaw store. To fold the blades into 3, opposite sides, just twist the top. 1 revolution, they'll fall into place. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for forwarding it to other folks you think might be interested. And thanks for subscribing. you.